guys? What's good? So, okay, that sounded a bit messed up. Anyway, right. So Bernard Hopkins versus Kovalev, right? All access. Bernard Hopkins revealed something which I don't think a lot of people pay attention to because you guys don't understand strength and conditioning. The majority of you, anyway, don't understand strength and conditioning. Some of you will. Bernard Hopkins said something which really made sense to me, right? Is that the reason he's doing as well as he's doing at this age, because he doesn't abuse his body, he doesn't go all out, he doesn't max out, he doesn't train like a dog. And I think that's people who box need to take note of this. Okay, you're boxing for 12 3-minute rounds. That's what he said, right? So why train like you're going to run a marathon, or you know what I mean? Why train for them 3-minute rounds? Okay, and I think it's interesting what he says. Really interesting, because I never really thought about it in this much depth. I mean, if you look at strength conditioning, right, and you see how, let's take Alex Ariza's training. He does all the workouts for your car and all this, and I think it's good for young fighters that they train their car and, you know, build up a sturdy, strong physique. But I mean, if you're someone like Mikey Garcia who's got boxing skills, right? Not Maidana. Maidana's a bit different. Maidana's a brawl fight type fighter. But if you're someone like Mikey Garcia who's got boxing skill, you need speed. Speed is the most important thing in boxing. You know, like Ali. People think that Klitschko would beat Ali, but they don't understand how fast Muhammad Ali was in his prime. Like Klitschko, I mean, people like think, oh, Klitschko's so big, he's so strong, he's this, he's that. Do you guys have any idea? Like, people think, oh, Ali used to get hit, he was this, he was that, he wasn't that. Listen, it ain't about what you see with Ali. Look at the fighters Ali beat. You really think Klitschko's gonna be able to go beat Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, George Foreman? You really think Vitaly Klitschko, the guy who gave up against, what's his name, right? You really think this guy is going to come and beat George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson? You really think he's going to beat everybody that Ali faced and just dominate them all? Think that if you guys won, but that, you know, you really don't think that any of these guys, George Foreman might just land a big uppercut on Klitschko, you know? So it's like this, right? Speed is everything in boxing, you know? Your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see. Fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee, you know? Muhammad Ali. And I think it's really important that speed is the #1 attribute in boxing which gets put forward. Like, if you're developing power, but you can't hit your opponent, what's the point about developing power? But if you're developing speed, but you haven't got power, that can still help you because you can outpoint your opponent. And that's what boxing is. And I think this is what Bernard Hopkins has. You know, he's worked on his speed, rhythm, timing. You know, this is what he's been working on. I mean, he's working on 12 3-minute rounds, and this is how he's lasting at such a long age. His body does not take the impact of weightlifting. It does not take the impact of fast motions. I mean, you know, you look at weightlifting, we look at powerlifting, we look at Alex Ariza's strength and conditioning, we look at Tony Brady, we look at, yeah, it's good. But I mean, if you want to last in the sport, if you don't abuse your body in terms of training, and I mean like shattering your bones and you're shattering your muscles and stuff, right? I think it's a good thing, and I think it's good what Bernard Hopkins is doing, that he gives his body a rest in the swimming pool, and he'll swim and he'll punch in the swimming pool, and it relaxes his muscles. It gives his muscles a chance to rest, because he understands that he's a boxer. You know, he understands he's a boxer. He understands that he is not an MMA fighter. He is not a track and field runner. He is not Usain Bolt. He is a boxer. He is boxing for 12 rounds, 3 minutes a round, and he knows how to control the pace of the round, and he needs timing. And I think that fighters have lost this old art form. And I think that's what separates Bernard Hopkins. I mean, why is Bernard Hopkins beating young fighters? I mean, he shouldn't be. Am I right that this guy should not be doing this? And if he beats Kovalev, he should not be doing this. This doesn't make sense. Like, that proves to me, not that how good Bernard Hopkins is, this actually proves to me that this era of boxing is not as good as the old era. You know, you put Roy Jones Jr., the prime in here, with Bernard Hopkins, he'll wipe the floor with Bernard Hopkins. No disrespect to Hopkins. Hopkins is a legend. Okay, he's a brilliant fighter because he comes from that old school. But he's not the best of that old school era. You know? But, I mean, you get Roy Jones here, tell him to jump in the ring with Triple G, tell him to jump in the ring with Kovalev. What do you think a Prime Roy Jones would do? He would destroy these guys. I mean, so what are we looking at? We're looking at this where this new school boxing, there's something that's not right here, you know? It's just not right. I mean, who is the king of boxing at the moment? It's Mayweather Jr. What is he? He's an old school trainer. He trains old school. And it's like, I know that science has developed and, you know, you should try and utilize that. I understand the nutritional part especially. But I mean, when it comes to the training, I think that weightlifting, that certain practices in boxing which have been implemented a lot, I think that it can help you develop power, but I think it diminishes that speed a little bit. And I mean, unless you're concentrating on solely building up speed, I mean, when you gain any sort of muscle, your power will increase and your speed, even if it decreases that much, it makes a difference in the fight. Because, like I said, you know, speed is the most important thing in boxing alongside timing. You know, I think it's important. I think it's really important. I think that the new school training is very good, but it needs to be toned down a little bit, and we need to. I think that fighters need to really like look at what works, because you know sometimes science is not. You know, science is such a thing that it can always be proved wrong, right? And it's like I read articles right in bodybuilding and training that look, eat white rice, eat your calories. Right, it doesn't make a difference if they're fast digestion, slow digestion, just eat it and it'll work. But I tried white rice and you know what happened? I got body fat off it. When I ate brown rice, I cut up. And it's like people say do deadlifts, it'll help you build a muscular physique. Not for me, it doesn't. It should do with all the stuff because it uses so many muscles, it uses testosterone. But you know, sometimes when you put things into practice, it doesn't work. It might seem logical and right on paper and on computers, but when you implement it, there are side effects, right, to what you're doing, and there are problems to what you're doing which you don't calculate within your set frame. I mean, like, I'm studying statistics at the moment, right, and econometrics, and like, I'm studying it on a master's level, and the thing is that when you're studying, I'm studying this on a master's level, and the thing is this, right, that something that my lecturer brought up was, when you look at any sort of model, right, and I think this applies directly to the Bernard Hopkins thing that I'm talking about. People think I'm going way off topic, I'm talking about some E equals MC squared shit, right? I'm not. When we look at Bernard Hopkins, right, and you look at like the new school training methods, right, it's like this. Sometimes there are things in the model which are not included, which if they were included, you start to realize that the whole thing becomes flawed. And because you can't count them variables, I mean, how do you measure if a person's speed has decreased? It's difficult. You know, the only way to measure it is through trial and error and kind of like pass and fails, you know, like win and losses, basically. I mean, we look at the elite level fighters of Floyd Mayweather. Like, look how he's dominating. And like, you know, I spoke to Angel Heredia. I did an interview with him, check it out. And Angel Heredia said to me, look, Mayweather doesn't knock anyone out. And he said that Marquez knocks people out and down. And he's got more power, and that's due to strength and conditioning. Yeah, but look at Marquez's speed, and who lost? Mayweather or Marquez? See my point? So, I think that strength and conditioning has a place in boxing, but I really think that all the strength and conditioning coaches need to take this little thing into consideration about what I said about, you know, you can't add certain variables. I mean, if it even decreases speed that much, is it worth you having that much power if your speed is decreased by that much? You know, if it's going to take a toll on your body, you know, where you're shattering your muscles, where you're damaging yourself. And I think Hopkins has got it right, where he's doing training, very boxing-specific training, where he's not going all out trying to be an athlete in another sport. He's training for 3 12-minute rounds where he's boxing. I mean, what is boxing? You're not weightlifting. You're not going to be... You're punching the guy. You're trying to be fast. You're trying to be elusive. You're trying to roll punches. You're trying to bob and weave. You need to be flexible. Your body... You know, there are certain things which are more important than other things. You know, power is not as important as speed and flexibility. I keep going back to this. And it's like, we look at strength and conditioning coaches, which I've got respect for, like such as Alex Ariza, and he puts a lot of emphasis on power, and he trains his fighters like mixed martial art fighters. And I know Alex Ariza knows what he's doing, but does he know what he's doing for boxers, or does he know what he's doing for MMA fighters? That's my point. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment section below. What do you guys think about this whole old school, new school training methods? I understand that every other sport has has gone more advanced, and the athletes are getting faster. The athletes are getting stronger, and they're beating world records in the past, and blah blah blah. But does this apply for boxing? Why is it that Mayweather Jr., who trains old school, Bernard Hopkins, who trains old school, Andre Ward, who trains old school, why are these guys at top of their game? Is it just skill, or is it that little bit? Is it that little thing that makes a difference? That little edge that they have in strength and conditioning. They're training old school. Let me think. Comment section below. Subscribers always another thing, right? The argument is, right, neck training doesn't help you absorb a punch because of the technical. Because the thing is this, right? When you take a punch, here's your chin, makes you wobble, brain hits the skull, boom, chemical reactions cause a knockout. Go to your legs, boom, knocked out. And Alex Ruiz said that training your neck's not going to help that. Because it doesn't make scientific sense. Look at Mike Tyson. See my point? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Comment section below. Subscribe as always. In a bit.